Hi everybody, this is Tosh here with Tactical Hyve and Strategic Ops Training with one of my instructors, Teddy Williams, a former LAPD officer. And today we're going to do a civilian assistance for a police officer that needs help. And we're going to run through that scenario, and then we're going to talk about the things that happen, the do's, the don'ts, and all that other stuff. All right, so we're going to do a scenario. Hopefully you never have to come across this scenario, but the way things are going in the world right now, especially in the United States and some of the bigger cities, cops are finding themselves in really awkward position. So as a CCW, can you assist a law enforcement officer that needs help? So that's my question to you. Is that something that is acceptable or not acceptable in the...
Oh, absolutely. If I'm working by myself and I get involved in a critical incident and requires help from somebody else who's armed, without a doubt, that's always going to help. But also understand, though, it's a very slippery slope. Once you get caught up in that vortex of gunfighting, and you as the civilian who's come up to help, and you present a pistol, might still be caught up in that vortex of violence. Okay. Communication is going to be key. Communication is definitely going to be key.
Okay, so let's run our scenario, see how it plays out, see what Myles does, and see how he reacts, and just see how it plays out, and then we'll talk about the goods and the bads.
Sounds good.
All right? So let's do it.
Turn around, put your hands behind your back. Put your hands behind your back. Turn around, turn around. Up against the wall. Hands behind your back. Spread your legs. Wider, wider. Don't move. Don't move.
God damn, man. You got them any tighter?
Spread your legs, motherfucker. Hey, stop, stop! Officer, get the gun! I dropped it.
All right, Teddy. So you saw how you were in it. Myles came along after or during the altercation. First off, do you think that was an appropriate situation where you wanted help as a law enforcement officer?
Absolutely, absolutely. Any help at that point, especially what I was faced with, and just trying to take you into custody, any help would have been much appreciated.
Okay. What are some of the things that he did, what you think he did right on the scenario?
Right off the top of my head, when Myles took cover after putting these two guys down who were trying to kill me, by taking cover, not only does that benefit Myles, it benefits me. If he's taking cover, he's presenting less of a target for me. I talked about this earlier. I'm caught in that vortex, caught up in that vortex of violence, and all I see is a pistol that's presented. By him taking cover, that's buying him time, and it's giving me a little bit more time to think. And it gave me, with him taking cover, it's a much more difficult shot for me if I decided to try to place that round. Right. And in processing all that information, and I gave the command, drop the gun, and he dropped the gun, all's fair that ends well. Okay,
let's walk it back a little bit. So the initial contact that he engaged the threat, it looked like to me, from what I could see, that he was at an angle that he didn't have anything behind his backdrop that he needed to worry about. So that is definitely something that we need to consider too also.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Collateral damage, especially in this episode, it's not a good thing. It isn't at all. When I was hit with the bat, I would imagine getting hit, full force with a Louisville Slugger, it's going to put me down. Right. And putting me down, it changes where I'm at, if that makes sense. In other words, my target went from, 5'10" Teddy to, 8 inches tall, which presented a better backdrop for Myles. Right. Myles put the first guy down, and in the position I was at, I didn't even realize the second guy had a gun. Didn't even know it. He took care of business, and then, like I said, he went to cover. And if you were going to put the best case scenario together, that, like I said, all that ends well, I think we saw that.
Okay, in that particular scenario, do you see any cons? Do you see anything that maybe he could have done a little bit different?
Maybe announcing himself. As I got hit with the bat, and we played this out. You were wrestling me pretty good there. Plus that you outweigh me by a lot. We were wrestling pretty good there. I get hit with the bat and go down. I really don't know who's who in the zoo. If Myles is able to communicate while he's looking for work, if he's able to communicate while he's solving that problem, I think that would have helped out a lot too, because it wasn't until finally I came to and said, okay, and I saw a pistol presented, and if I would have had a little bit more information before then, probably been a little better.
So communicate a little bit more.
Yes, sir.
So is there anything else?
Yeah, Toshiro was one other thing that I thought about, and that was fields of fire on Myles' side. And what I mean by that is, I think I said this earlier about collateral damage. And also, in the scenario that's presented in an urban environment, you're really gonna have to make sure you place your rounds. And even after placing your rounds, what was behind that person? You brought up backdrop earlier, but that's gonna become super important. It doesn't matter whether it's law enforcement or a civilian. You reach out and touch somebody that wasn't supposed to get touched, you got some answering to do. And you just gotta keep that in the back of your mind.
Right, you're gonna have to count for every round you fire, right?
That's correct.
You know, legally, depending on the state, obviously, some are going to be looser, some are going to be tighter. Yeah. So there you go. That was the scenario we ran. We're not saying look for these altercations and get involved, but should they happen, they unfold in front of you, it's up to you how you're going to take care of it. If you are going to act on something like this, communicate with the law enforcement, make sure you know your backdrop, and do everything the law enforcement tells you to do. Those are the key points on all this. Every scenario is going to play out different. And again, like I've said in the past, whatever scenario that we throw in front of you, that's not the one you're going to end up in. So thanks for watching. If you like the information that we're putting out, give us a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. See you next time.